we talked a little bit about it on Dark Zone Junkies about on the Divisions side, but the big question is Anthem able to survive and even thrive in a world where Destiny and the Division are already established, and even a game like Fortnite, there's a lot of, I don't want to say negativity against Anthem, but there's a lot of skepticism against Anthem to see if BioWare can pull off a multiplayer RPG. We know they have a great track record with single player RPGs, but a lot of people kind of felt burned by Mass Effect Andromeda, and we talked a little bit about it on the first episode where, Mass Effect Andromeda was a misstep, but it was also a different team, and there were certain things within EA that would kind of force that game out when it wasn't finished and stuff like that. So, do you think what?
I was gonna say, didn't they have to redo a whole bunch of stuff at some point or something like that?
Well, what they did was they 18 months before launch they switch engines.
That's right.
They kind of had to build the game around a new engine because they were using Unreal, which is what Mass Effect, the original trilogy, runs on. So they were building this game on Unreal, which they were very familiar with. They had everything running on it and whatever, and they had some unique ideas that they could do it in Unreal because it's a little bit more flexible than what Frostbite was at the time. They wanted almost a No Man's Sky style vibe to it, where you go to these planets, you kind of explore and kind of make camps and stuff on these different planets and harvest resources, almost kind of almost in a Harvest Moon style way, where you're harvesting resources that after time intervals you gain the resources and you can go you have them shipped back to your ship and stuff. It was really cool ideas, and then they kind of got forced down this path where they had to switch everything over, and they couldn't use their ideas because it was going to take more time, and they needed to get the game out or whatever. So, a lot of people have some skepticism towards Anthem because some people just see the BioWare name and don't recognize that there's two teams. There's 3 or 4 teams now, and this was their first time making a full game when they've just been a support studio since, Dragon Age, the first one, Origins, I guess it was what it was called. So, do you think people have the right to be skeptical about Anthem?
It's kind of okay. So this is what I'm gonna say. Just again, what we just kind of talked about, all the reasons why the last game they made didn't do well. There was a lot of things that kind of just ended up not being ideal for them creating a game wise, But the thing is all the other Mass Effects before that game were great. They were amazing. And because of the fact that we can point to a reason why maybe things didn't turn out as well as they should have, in my opinion, is enough of a reason to not have as much worry about this game, because now they know that they're using the Frostbite engine, so they day one, the second they started working on this game, they were doing what they needed to do in the system that they were going to be using throughout the full game. So there's no setbacks like that, that they're having to deal with, really. I mean, I'm sure there's setbacks that we won't hear about until later. When devs talk about oh, well, we were having issues trying to get this sequence to work, or the in-depth things that a lot of devs don't really talk about always. But I mean, for the most part, though, I just think that they've kind of knew what they wanted to do. They've been doing it, and for the most part, there hasn't really been any setbacks or any reasons for us to be worried about it.
Yeah,
I feel like,
Yeah.
like I can see, and then this is where I say I can see where people are going to be skeptical or whatever of it, is just because of the EA name. And at this point, EA doesn't exactly have the greatest, like, not everyone is fond of EA and the directions that they've gone, recently. But I feel like it's in EA's best interest for them to kind of just let BioWare do what BioWare does and has done for years and brought them a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think EA understands as well as we do that, yeah, it's probably not easy for you to have to switch an engine in the middle of the game. So we'll give you that. The last game, it didn't work out. That's fine. I just think that EA may kind of be, just kind of letting them do their thing.
Yeah, because I like you said, I think EA needs a win more than BioWare does right now.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
look at the fiasco they're in with the Star Wars license, right? Like, there's a thing that came out a couple days ago where BioWare pitched Knights of the Old Republic 3 to EA, and they said no because they wanted a games as a service game, right? They wanted that game that people are going to keep coming back to and spend money on and that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if Anthem spawned out of that or if people were just like, hey, we're just gonna make Anthem now, I guess, or if they had two projects in the works or what. But like, the thing is EA needs that win because of they're halfway through their Star Wars contract and they've produced 2 games outside of the mobile stuff, right? Like 2 pretty mediocre Battlefront games, one of which was in hot water due to the pay to win stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, there's that, but then there's also they don't have anything else besides sports, right? And granted, Madden and FIFA alone make them a ton of money every year, but Battlefield is kind of on a downhill slope. I don't know if we played the beta for Battlefield 5, but like, Battlefield's kind of on a downhill slope. Medal of Honor doesn't exist anymore. Titanfall 2 didn't sell super well, even though like it was a fantastic game. Like, didn't sell well. So like, EA needs a win more than BioWare does right now, and I think Anthem. I think EA is going to let them do with Anthem what they need to do with it. Right? They've already delayed it a year, right? And so it's hard because I really think that Anthem is going to be great. I have a feeling. Sorry. Well, that was weird. I went to sneeze and then it didn't come out, and then like my nose got really stuffy for a second, and then it just didn't come out. I think. I hope with Anthem. People like, let's use Destiny as an example. When Destiny 1 came out, right? A lot of people thought that Destiny was going to be Halo plus Borderlands, right? With like, okay, it's a loot shooter RPG, right? Where like there's going to be new guns every 5 seconds. There's going to be loot on the ground everywhere. And it turned out not to be that. And a lot of people were kind of disappointed in Destiny, and at first because of that, and then the real reasons kind of started kicking in, and didn't even really get fixed until the Taken King a year later. But I really hope people go into Anthem with the right expectations. Like, I think they've made their messaging clear, right? They're putting out so many dev streams. They're putting out. That trailer, for example, was such a perfect piece of like, here's what Anthem is, right? You can customize your Javelin however you want. the Under Armor stuff is the stuff that you collect out in the world, where the Over Armor stuff is kind of like this is how you do customization, this is how you do progression, this is how you upgrade weapons, these are the legendary weapons, these are the strongholds, here's the difference between the javelins. They've really gotten that message out there, right? And I think that's great.
Yeah.
I hope enough people see that, but like, I think that message is great. And in terms of competition, like right now, Destiny's kind of in a weird spot with splitting from Activision and Luke Smith, which if you want to check out Tower Casuals, we're going to talk about what Luke Smith said about the future of Destiny. They seem pretty committed to Destiny, but there's some things right in the immediate future that's like, okay, we've got a roadmap for content, but as we make this transition, maybe it's not going to be kind of what we wanted, what Activision wanted it to be. It's going to be kind of, we're transitioning to it how we want it to be and how we want it to move forward. So a lot of Destiny players are going to have to be patient with that. So and we talked about how there's that kind of Ubisoft cluster community where like, okay, we'll play The Division, and then we'll check out the new operators in Rainbow Six, and then we'll play some Ghost Recon when the new content for that comes out. Like, there's this kind of Ubisoft games as a service community, and then there's the other games as a service community. And I think the only real kind of quote-unquote threat for Anthem right now is getting people to jump ship from something like Fortnite or Call of Duty, right? And not to say that they're in direct competition, but like getting people into a new games as a service this late in a console cycle is going to be their challenge, right? It's not going to be that Destiny has a big expansion coming out at the same time, so Anthem's not going to survive because they have a new expansion or something, right? It's going to be how do you market a new games as a service this late in the console cycle when games like Fortnite and Blackout are so popular?
Yeah, and I honestly though I feel like in some ways it's kind of a good thing that Anthem is like, because it's not coming out to all systems right away, right?
What, Anthem?
Anthem. I forget. Is it coming out to everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Xbox One, PC, and PS4.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was thinking that they had an exclusive deal with Xbox.
Well, if you have EA access, you get it a week early. Well, 10 hours worth of it early, but
yeah. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Well, I was gonna say, well, the thing is too, like, when comparing this to Destiny, like, so with Destiny, they basically, probably could have used a year, the game being delayed for another year, like Anthem was. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping.
Well, that's the thing too with Destiny is everything was already delayed a year.
Yeah.
Destiny 1 vanilla was delayed a year.
Yeah.
And then the problem with Destiny, which we'll talk a little bit about Tower Casuals, is I've actually been going back and researching a bunch of Destiny stuff. But the short story is the thing with Tower Casual, or the thing with Destiny is, like, it was supposed to come out in 2013, I think. 2013, I think, and it came out in 2014. Yeah. But when the game was supposed to come out, they scrapped the whole campaign, which is why the vanilla campaign was kind of not great. The lead writer left, a bunch of production leads left because they were feuding. They had internal feuds, not just with it. It was more of like, hey, we're feuding internally with the higher-ups of Bungie because the Bungie higher-ups are feuding with Activision, right? Oh, okay. Because Activision wants it this way, so in order for us to make our publisher happy, we have to do it this way. And everybody was like, we're not having that. And they ended up leaving, right? So there was that whole issue. And then the Taken King expansion was supposed to be a part of Destiny 1 vanilla.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, Destiny 2 was delayed a year, and they put Rise of Iron together in like 5 months to have an expansion instead of another game proper. So there's all kinds of things with Destiny that just kind of made it, you know, it was in trouble from the start. So but, you know, after that, it's like Anthem has already been delayed a year. I think they've had they've been working on this game since Mass Effect 3 wrapped. And Mass Effect 3 wrapped in what, 2012-ish?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when Mass Effect 3 came out.
That sounds right.
So
that sounds right because
if only I had a device in front of me that could tell me when things came out.
Well, and I think the thing is too is like I doubt there was any kind of feuding or anything going on that would cause things to be delayed even more so, like as far as progress goes. So like what I was basically gonna say is the thing is that just the fact that EA let them have delay it another a year says that they're trying to work with them and give them the time they need to finish it and do it correctly. And I think the thing is too is like I think this Anthem is basically gonna be their destiny, their ambitious new thing that they wanted to do that takes from the games they've made in the past and try to just really push their abilities to its fullest and really give us a really good new experience. That's how I look at it, and just the fact that EA, because just the fact that they let them do that, is a big deal in my opinion, because a lot of the times you hear about these companies, these creators who want to do this big ambitious project, and the only way they can do it is by leaving the people who are publishing or basically owned them at the time. And the fact that EA is kind of let them do that is a positive for them, that they actually let them do something different and didn't just force them into making more of the same game over and over and over again. So the fact that they didn't have to leave EA in order to give us Anthem is a good sign in itself, in my opinion.
So that's kind of as we wrap up here, I kind of just want to say that like Anthem is a different beast from everything that I've consumed in the last 2 weeks, which, believe me, is a lot. So much. It's such a different beast than something like Destiny as of right now. And, I was looking at the map of the world, which I actually thought about talking about on this episode, but we'll save it for next week, where the map is gigantic, but you can make a map that gigantic when you're not going, like Destiny, you're going to planet after planet after planet after planet to do new stuff. And not that those worlds are small, but by any stretch, but it's not a huge kind of open space that you can go to like an Anthem, where Anthem's going to be a huge open world with all kinds of different sectors that you can go explore and whatever. And it's just a really cool looking game. And I think that it has a lot going for it in the terms of people want to feel like Iron Man, right? And people want to be able to play with their friends and fly around in these suits and explore the world. And I think it really has that going for them. And I really think it's going to be a different, unique experience from Destiny. And I can't wait to play it, because the stuff they were showing off with the Colossus javelin yesterday on a live stream was just like, it was really cool, man. Like the way they kind of had their build built around this Colossus was like, it was literally just a walking tank that could heal everybody. Where like it kind of walked in front of everybody with this big kind of like almost like a riot shield almost.
Oh, okay.
And like they had the support shield thing on it where they just were able to heal people within a vicinity, and people were like flying around behind it and taking out enemies and swooping back behind it to heal and coming back up and shooting more enemies. And then they showed that mini nuke weapon that the Colossus had, and it was just, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool. So
yeah, I can't wait. I still do need to go. I kind of want to watch some stuff, like some gameplay stuff, because I've been trying to kind of stay away from it and just only kind of learning what I absolutely need to for the show.
Yeah.
But like because I'm kind of in between like you and Ed, where like Ed doesn't really want to see anything at all. He doesn't even want to listen to this show because he wants to just completely go in blindly. And like part of me wants to be that way, but at the same time I kind of want to learn like a whole bunch of like what we talk about. I don't feel like is much of a spoiler. You know, it's just like being informed about something before going into it. So you know, like we're trying to hopefully help people understand things and have a positive feeling about it going into the game versus just listening to what negative stuff people might be saying without any idea of what they're even talking about. Yeah. You know, like that's my issue. Is I don't mind if people want to be critical about games, but you should probably just make sure that you're like, you know, giving it a try first and just understand things a little bit before you start just, you know, trying to be negative about it, because it just doesn't help anyone ultimately. Yeah. You know, and with the way social media is and stuff now, it's so easy for people to get, you know, poor information about things. Yeah. You know, and you know, it's just like I really want people for this to be something massive for us that we get to enjoy, and everyone else, people who listen to this show, or just people who like, you know, Mass Effect and all that stuff. Like, I'm hoping that it's a good balance between people who like games like Destiny and people who like the Mass Effect series, like kind of bringing that kind of stuff together. Yeah. Like I really just hope it does good, because like BioWare deserves it, and you know, and like you said, like EA needs a win at this point. They need to be able to prove why they were such a big company for so many years. So
yeah.